You're watching Night TV International live from Cairo, to watching the breakfast show, and it's our pleasure to have with us over the phone Mr. Karim Minabawi, tourism expert. Good morning, Mr. Karim.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to have you on Night TV International.
The pleasure is all mine, thank you.
Actually, most of the people are awaiting the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum. We have been watching documentaries on the project, we have been watching detailed reports on the project, but as a tourist expert, what's different about this Grand Egyptian Museum for people who want to know the significance of the project to tourism and to Egypt?
Well, it's unique. I'm sure you all know that the museum would be the biggest museum in the world to exhibit one single culture.
Mm-hmm.
The museum location is also unique. The museum is is next to the pyramid. But while you are visiting the museum, you still have the scenery and the view of the museum throughout your visit, which is also, of course, adding also interest and other benefits. It will be the first time ever that the whole Tutankhamun treasure is displayed in one single spot, even the pieces that haven't been displayed before, or the pieces that have been touring the world. So it will definitely become another icon in the whole of Cairo.
Mm-hmm. As a tourism expert, what's different in the display in the museum itself?
Sorry, it was cut. Come again?
Here, and it's an amazing museum. You go inside and you see the mummies, you see the treasures of the ancient Egyptians, the jewelry. And what's different? The display itself, the way they display the monuments inside the Grand Egyptian Museum. Is it different from the one in Tahrir?
In terms of displaying?
Mm-hmm.
Of course. Well, I mean, still under the Supreme Council of Antiquities, all these small details, or it's not small details, all this, I would say, still in exhibiting, but we have heard that the museum is actually split into five phases or 5 parts. Each part will have a whole different, a whole exhibition showing a certain dynasty. Like, for instance, the first one we understood, it will be the whole Tutankhamun treasure will be displayed in the first part of the museum, all together in one spot. How the other 4 would be displayed, nobody knows so far. But that we have a theme in exhibiting this unique treasure.
Mm-hmm. To Egypt and tourism, when this project is inaugurated, will this, affect the tourism in Egypt with the coronavirus going on? And so, do you expect, as an expert, that this will boost the tourism to Egypt? Because we're expecting millions of visitors to this grand project.
No, but it will not be open before we end this COVID-19 issue. And I'm sure you all know that it's the main question now, and everybody is asking when it will open and when it will
Yes,
open.
definitely,
So
yeah.
it is not the case. It will not be open before we are through the whole pandemic. Because the plan is similar to this for the mummies and the golden parade. If we have done such a parade for the 22 mummies of our kings and queens for the gem, we should do nothing but similar or even better. So, to my understanding, we do expect head of states to be there, first ladies, eminent people all around the world to be there, and this can never happen before we're through the pandemic. So this is actually why the inauguration has been delayed and will be delayed wait until we are in the possibility of inviting those personalities and really plan an opening that is matching glory of such an inauguration.
Of course. After we decide on the inauguration, do you expect this to boost tourism to Egypt? I mean, we know that tourists they come to Egypt with different destinations, especially when we talk about German tourists, they come for diving. And we have a certain image in our mind because, you know, people when they go to the Red Sea, they meet a lot of Germans or Italians diving. So are we going to like open a new front to more tourists from everywhere when the museum is opened?
Let me tell you something. There are so many people that are actually postponing their arrival till the museum is opened. They know that Egypt has always been the bucket list for everybody, but the museum is also now becoming on top of the bucket list of the bucket list. So they don't want to. Many people don't want to come until they have the possibility of visiting the museum itself. So we do have lots of demands that when this will happen, because this group is pending the opening of the museum and so forth. So it will definitely add, because many people will be, as I told you, postponing until it's open. It doesn't mean that nobody will come before. I mean, there are still quite a good demand for 2022 and probably the last part of 21. The first quarter of the fourth quarter of 21, but yes, I assume that the opening will actually bring lots of people who have been holding their visits and will actually push many people to revisit.
We go back to the museum and the display. I think each museum or each facility that has antiquities on display, they have like the jewel of the crown. What is the jewel of the crown for the Grand Egyptian Museum? What is the collection that is considered the jewel of the crown?
The Tutankhamun collection. No doubt about it. The Tutankhamun collection. It's, if I'm not mistaken, the number is around 55,000 pieces, 5,500 pieces of Tutankhamun, but anyway, it will be the whole Tutankhamun collection that has been split partly touring, partially at the National Museum, partially not being exhibited. All those will be for the first time ever in the same place exhibited, and visitors can see it at one glance of the eye. So this is what really attracts everybody, and everybody is waiting to see.
Well, a question I might know the answer for, but just to clarify for the rest of our audience, why the collection, the King Tut collection, is considered the most famous and the most watched all over the world. We know that it toured some of the countries, even the US and Europe. Why is this collection considered like the most famous and the most important to people?
In fact, when they discovered the Tutankhamun tomb, it was intact, it was complete. And this is what actually made it so popular, that we have known how the whole complete tomb of a king looks like and has. And Tutankhamun itself as a king also, that he was not king for a long time, but he died at the age of maybe 18. But this glory of finding the tomb completely intact has made a big impact throughout the world, and has created a big name for Tutankhamun that attracts everybody to come and see. So this is one of the reasons actually that made Tutankhamun wealth and treasure so attractive.
Mm-hmm. Well, we hope that the opening will be soon. We hope, of course, that the coronavirus will be won't be there any coronavirus, will end soon, so that we can enjoy the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum, awaited by people all over the world and millions. Mr. Karim, thank you very much for being with us on Night TV International. It was a pleasure. Thank you. And we still have more on the breakfast show, so stay with us on Night TV International, coming to you live from Cairo.